we're drifting over into nonfiction. Do we know what nonfiction is?
Real.
Not
Facts.
Yeah, it's factual. Yeah, that's the difference. Fiction is not real. Fiction is based off of true events. Do we know any examples of nonfiction?
Like books?
Actual
Superman.
No, that's fiction.
Superman
is not real.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
like a newspaper or a biography.
No, fiction is fake.
Yeah, Diary of Anne Frank. That's a very much a nonfiction book.
Like Diary of Wimpy.
So we are going to read a nonfiction short story. It's actually a short story. It's not even 500 words. So it's by Amy Tan, and she is a Chinese American author. She was born in California, but both of her parents were Chinese immigrants. So she did a lot of writing about being a Chinese American person and growing up in that. This story is called Fish Cheeks. It was written in 1987, but it was posted in 17 magazine and was really popular. And it actually sparked 6 other books from her. And it's considered an autobiography because this is actually something that happened in her real life. So we're going to read this out loud together, and we're going to talk about it, and then we are also going to do a writing assignment. But it says group, so it won't be as bad. Yeah.
No.
Just to make it a little bit easier for you.
Just let him sit in the hallway if he doesn't want to work.
Alright, there you go. Pass that back. And while we're passing it back, why are cultural differences in America important?
What makes America a melting pot?
Okay. We are a melting pot, right? There's a lot of us here. One more.
We have extras?
We have, like America, we have a ton of differences, right? We have people from all over the world, and that's why they kind of call us the melting pot or a salad bowl of the world. Why is that important, though? Like, what would it be like if we were all the same all the time? It would, right? It makes us more unique. It makes it better for us. Exactly. So that's why this is important, because it kind of shows you what it's like to be Chinese, but also a Chinese American. So I'm going to read the first paragraph, and then we're going to popcorn read. You don't have one?
I'm not able.
Okay, so follow along. We're going to stop after every paragraph almost and talk about things. Okay, so pay attention. Yeah, you're allowed to write, highlight, mark on it, anything that you would like to do with it. That's your resource.
Thank you, miss.
You're welcome. I fell in love with the minister's son the winter I turned 14. He was not Chinese, but as white as Mary in the manger. For Christmas, I prayed for this blonde-haired boy, Robert, and a slim, new American nose. So what does this tell us about Amy so far?
She's in love with the white boy, and she wishes she was white. Well, her nose was white.
Yeah, she does. She wishes she looked like an American girl, right? Yeah. Why do we why does she want that?
So she could fit
She
in?
doesn't want to be different.
Yeah. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
When I found out that my parents had invited the minister's family over for Christmas Eve dinner, I cried. What would Robert think of our shabby Chinese Christmas? What would he think of our nosy Chinese relatives who lacked proper American manners? What terrible disappointment would he feel upon seeing not a roasted turkey and a sweet potato, but Chinese food?
Okay, so why did Amy cry?
She's embarrassed of her culture.
Yeah? Why do we think she's embarrassed of her culture?
Because
So what can we infer about her, how she feels about being Chinese?
She's not about it.
She's embarrassed. She's different from her.
Yeah. Okay, who else wants to read?
on Christmas Eve, I saw that my mother had outdone herself in creating a strange menu. She was pulling back veins out of the backs of fleshy prawns. The kitchen was littered with appalling mounds of raw food. A slimy rock cod with blue, bulging eyes that pleaded not to be thrown into a pan of hot oil. Tofu, which looked like stacked wedges of rubbery white sponges. A owl soaking dried fungus back to life. A plate of squid, their backs crisscrossed with knife markings so that they resembled bicycle tires.
Go ahead and finish those next 2 lines for me too.
And then they arrived, the minister's family and all my relatives, in a clamor of doorbells and rumpled Christmas packages. Robert grunted, hello, and one pretended he was not worthy of existence.
Yeah. So why is this information relevant? Why is that important that she decided to go into this whole detail about the food being served?
Yeah, because they're not used to like that much seafood. They're mostly
Yeah, it's kind of weird, huh? It's kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit the way she describes it. That's not normal. Normally with Christmas dinner we think turkey and sweet potatoes, right? And not tofu and squid. Is this important? Do we need to know this information as a reader?
Yeah.
Yeah? What is every part of the story always necessary?
No.
No.
Why not?
Because some are just fillers to make it make sense, right?
Well, if it's to make it make sense, wouldn't that be important? Have you ever read something and felt that it wasn't important to the rest of the story?
Yeah, sort of.
Like what?
Well, back in the day, I used to read Diary with the Kid.
Okay. I did too. No judgment.
That was, yeah.
There's some useless information there
Yeah,
that didn't really pertain to the story.
Yeah.
Does anyone else feel that writing is always important or not important? Yeah? How so?
Like let's say like when it's switched some of all the food, I might not find it like it's important, but somebody else will be like, no, it's like super important.
Well,
That's
why?
not how somebody interprets it.
So you don't think this information about food's
Well, no,
important?
that was an example.
Okay.
I feel it's important because it brings details and it shows how different is like the Chinese food for Christmas, like to the American.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to read the next paragraph? Anybody? Somebody?
I could read that.
Sure.
Dinner threw me deeper into despair. My relatives licked the ends of their chopsticks and reached across the table, dipping them into the dozen or so plates of food. Robert and their family waited patiently for platters to be passed to them. My relatives murmured with pleasure when my mother brought out the whole steamed fish. Robert grimaced. Then my father poked his chopsticks just below the eye and punked out the soft meat. Amy, your favorite, he said, offering me the tender fish cheek. I wanted to disappear.
And who wants to read the next paragraph?
Caesar does.
Alright, you've been volunteered, Caesar.
Well,
At the end of the meal.
At the end of the meal, my father leaned back and blinked loudly, thanking my mother for her fine cooking. It is a polite Chinese custom to show you are satisfied, explained my father to our astonished guests. Robert was looking at his plate with a radiant face. The minister managed to muster up a quiet burp. I was stunned into silence for the rest of the night.
So how do I feel about this scene? This is a lot of interesting things that's not normal for dinner for us, right? Like they're burping loudly and yeah. How would you feel if you were Amy in this situation?
I mean,
Embarrassed.
since I'm a guy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind.
absolutely. So from this point on, we haven't finished the story, but what can we gather is the tone of this story? Maybe someone on this side of the room. I feel like y'all have been more
Joey?
quiet.
Connor.
Do we remember what tone is? We just spent a lot of time talking about it when things fall apart.
The mood.
The mood, yeah. So what's the mood?
It's like more personal, I think, probably.
It is embarrassed. Yeah, it's very embarrassed. It's ashamed. He's saying that word a lot. Do we still think Amy is super ashamed at this point?
Yeah.
It's probably just getting progressively worse and worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
What evidence do we have of her being ashamed? Like, yes, we hear her say that she's ashamed and that she wants to disappear, but what else can we find from the story that shows
She
it?
said she wanted to.
Besides that, maybe look a little deeper.
When she describes the Chinese manners, how like they burp loudly, how they lick everything, and how they have to show that they're silent.
Yeah, she describes it kind of grossly, doesn't she? Like, these are, a lot of times, I've heard a lot of stories about this, like how people eat from different cultures, and normally it's very passive and not opinionated, and she describes this very grossly, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any evidence?
And how his father said that her favorite part of his dish was the shakes, and she just got more embarrassed.
Yeah, that's a good quote. Did you have something too? No? Okay, what do we think of these traditions? Like, if you were Robert in this, you think it's awesome? You like the idea of being able to burp loudly?
Gotta come off somehow.
I mean, like, if I was him, I would find it interesting. It's something new, and it's always good to try something new.
Yeah.
But I also, like, personally, I do not like seafood, but I would, like, you know, try something.
You'd probably just politely try to eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have something to say?
It like depends on like how your parents raised you, or
Yeah, it does. It's culture, right? Chinese culture versus American culture here. There's a huge clash at this point, isn't there?
Yeah.
Who wants to read the 7th paragraph? Start. Yes.
After everyone had gone, my mother said to me, "You want to be the same as American girls on the outfit." She handed me an early gift. It was a miniskirt in each tweed, but instead you must always be Chinese. You must be proud you are different. The only shame is to have shame.
And who wants to read the last paragraph?
Yes. And even though I didn't agree with her then, I knew that she understood how much I had suffered during the evening dinner. It wasn't until many years later, long after one had gotten over my crush on Robert, that I was able to fully appreciate her lesson and the true purpose behind our particular menu. For Christmas Eve that year, she had chosen all my favorite foods.
Very good. So what was her mother's lesson? What was that?
Don't be shameful. Don't be shameful.
Yeah. Don't be ashamed, right? What else is she saying?
Don't be ashamed of your culture from where you're from.
Right. You should be proud of this, right?
Yeah, be proud of you and don't lose you.
Exactly. But she still gave her the mini skirt. She still gave her an American clothing item, right? Because she knew that that's what she wanted at the time,
Yeah.
right? So, did the lesson work?
Yeah.
Why do you say probably not?
No,
No, go ahead.
I don't know.
No, there's something that made you say that. What makes you think that? That's not wrong.
I mean, she hates like throughout the story, she hates everything. And, like, I don't think she's gonna change because, like, you know, she probably like once like she's like getting used to these American cultures and like everybody around her, like she wants to be like everyone else. Yeah.
That's a good inference. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Does anyone else think something different? Does anyone else think that She's still ashamed by the end of the story? Yeah. Does anyone else think that there's maybe something different that maybe she did change?
Well, I mean, like, about the ashamed part, she probably, looking back, she's probably ashamed of being ashamed. Because now, by the looks of it, you know, she got older and started appreciating who she is. And then, you know, looking back at it, she's probably like, why did I do this? And I was stupid for doing this.
So it's kind of like a long-term,
Yeah.
later on the lesson worked,
Yeah,
right?
kind of like what happens to us. Like, right now, our parents tell us to do something. We rebel, blah, blah, blah. We grow up and we're like, thanks, mom or dad.
Yeah. Let me tell you, that happens a lot when you get older too. That does. And then you kick yourself. You're like, dang it, I don't want to say thank you, but I guess I will. So what was the purpose of the story? As a reader, like from you, not from Amy's point of view, because we've been talking about this. As you reading it, what's the point? Why should you be reading this? What lesson can you learn from this?
To always be yourself.
Yeah. Not be ashamed of who you are.
Yeah, never let go of who you are because it's a lot.
Yeah. And then lastly, because we've been kind of talking about it this whole time leading you up to it, can we say what the theme is for sure now? You just said it. Yeah. Yeah. So, what we're going to do for the rest of the class period, because I know you have FSAs coming up and we need to practice writing, you're going to break into groups of 2 or 4, up to you. Just kind of turn to the people next to you. And I want y'all to take a piece of paper out. You can use your highlighters to highlight evidence. There's also if you turn your page, there is a really good resource for helping you. You're going to write just a paragraph or 2, nothing, I'm not going to make you write a full paper, but I want you to write a very strong thesis statement with evidence from the story supporting it. What is the lessons that Amy learned? And did she learn this lesson? You're allowed to say no, you're allowed to agree that she didn't learn the lesson, but I want to know why. And I want you to draw evidence from the story. So use your highlighters to highlight quotes if you need to, write in the margins. That's your research. You don't have to turn that back into me. Okay? So turn to the people like you two together, you 2 rows, you 2 rows, and you 2 rows. Just kind of work next to each other. And then at the end of the lesson, in about the last 5 minutes of the lesson, we're going to actually turn the paper in. So make sure you do. Okay? I'm going to walk around. I'm sorry. You can share 1 paper. You can, 2 ideas, 1 paper. And it only has to be a paragraph or 2, but I want to see good evidence. I want to see you using quotes from the story. I want to see you using drawing inferences from the story, okay?
Okay, all right.
I think she did that.
Was it being pinned?
I'm sorry? This is an English class, so let's write in black pen, please. Yeah, you'll only need 1 sheet of paper. No. Okay, Okay, so the papers on the back of the short story is to help you write these paragraphs. You don't have to fill it out. That's for you to use because it has some really helpful information for how to do this paragraph. Okay, you don't have to fill it out. Use it as help. Use it to kind of guide you. Okay. You're going to, with your partner, you're going to write a very strong thesis statement over what lesson Amy learned and why if or if not it worked. Okay? A paragraph or two, however long it takes you to be able to give that strong thesis statement and supporting evidence to back up that thesis statement. Okay? Because that's what's going to be really important when you write your paper. Yeah. So y'all are going to the lesson time. Yeah, that's what the highlighters are for. If you want to, you can go through and highlight what you think will help you support your statement. Okay. Yeah, paragraph or two, however long it takes you to write a strong thesis and then find evidence to back that up.
Okay, you said you got
But I want to see if you what lesson did you learn and did it work? We just talked about it in class and we kind of went through, that's why I found it kind of important. So I'm kind of drawing this about you. This table we talked about in class, find here, so yourself,
Years ago, a year and a half ago, we have a part 50
it's just for today.
Eventually.
I'm gonna do the work.
No, because while I'm doing the work, you're gonna be talking to other people.
Ooh, like, you're recording this on one side.
Yes. I want a really strong sentence that answers that question, and then backs up your answer. So
She said one,
I want to see why, like, showing
Hey, just put it down.
in the text
Go
show
ahead.
what
Eventually, she
don't
liked
think
it.
it works.
What you
Why did you?
I'm ready to go on.
Why did you? Okay.
Yeah, later on in life.
You're welcome. Yeah. And where in the text does it show it? I know Rob won't like, and where in the text does it say it? Right? I mean, it's just like, so what lesson did Amy learn and didn't work? So I want a really strong statement that says, well, what did Amy learn? Like, what did she learn from this situation? That's the lesson. It's me, but the story we've been talking about it all the class. I want a really strong sentence about that, and then I want to really, in the statement, do you think it worked or not? Then I want you to go to this text and explain, find in the text where it shows the lessons you learned, and find in the text where it supports if you think it worked or not. Does that make sense? So you kind of had a question, did I answer it? Yeah?
How After we're gonna put it.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this out loud one more time. So you're writing, what lesson did Amy learn? What did she learn from the situation? And did it work? So you're gonna write it really strong. We've talked about thesis statements, right? Yes? So we're gonna write a really strong thesis statement of, did this lesson, what lesson did she learn? And did it work? And then you're going to spend the rest of the paragraph going back into this text, and we're going to look at, I want to see text evidence of what lesson she learned supporting this, what you think she learned, and I want to see text evidence of if it worked or if it didn't. You're allowed to say it didn't work, I just want to see in the text where it says that she didn't. If you think that it did work, I want to see where in the text that you think it did work, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though I didn't write anything, you need to write it down, Cameron. Say, that she did her lesson. You need to write it though. You gotta put it
Who's talking to me? There's someone who doesn't even know what, like, the difference between alive and being alive. Yeah, he told me that.
I learned that.
Grace, in here? Okay, I need you up here because she's your brother.
Because once you let them go, it's very hard to get used to.
I need y'all to work together on this.
Huh? I put everything in the place and she might not work.
Well, that makes perfect sense. What do you mean? I said the lesson she learned. You have to learn that
Say it backwards. Is they we both agree that she did.
And what? What did we got so far?
I have my stuff. I'm not
So, you tell me what it is.
What did you learn?
Me and Casey and I. That's so stupid. Okay, no, you're trying to say me and Casey and I.
Okay. And did it work? And you have, like, he sounds like you and then you're ready. And where are y'all? What do we have? Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a really
Really appreciate your
so teachers that way. No, Miss Crawford literally said she would sue.